very good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome to this episode of Your Manchester with me, Mrs. Belinda Scandal.
And me, Mr. Mark Llewellyn.
How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
A busy week?
Yes, I've just had 2 nights in Sutton Coldfield.
Doing what?
You don't want to know that.
I do want to know.
Looking for produce to buy.
Produce?
Yes.
What a produce?
For my retail empire.
For your retail empire. Did you find anything worthwhile?
Yes, I certainly did.
Did you? Are you going to tell us what?
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm all right. Looking forward to it. So we get Drag Idol.
Right.
Starts this Friday in Manchester.
Yes.
And I've been asked to host.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
I didn't think I'd be able to win it. So
You
I thought
have
I'd get in there somehow, you know.
Host a lot of things, don't you?
I do host a lot of things. I've got 2 months of Drag Idols now.
That's how cheap you must be.
I am very cheap. Very cheap. Anyway,
Yes.
Mother's Day coming up.
Yes, on Sunday.
We
isn't
asked for some messages from you, and I believe we've got.
it? We have indeed. So we need to say hello from Josh to his mum, Alison. Happy Mother's Day. And also Kevin sends best wishes to Marie, his mum.
Hi, Marie.
Yeah.
How are you? Come on.
We've got Daniel and George,
Mhm.
lovely young couple.
Yes.
And they're sending love to their mum, Pauline, here.
Mhm.
And we also need to say hello to a lady called Chris Bowley, who is in Dudley in the West Midlands.
They're watching us there.
Yeah, they watch it every week.
Right, listen, we've got a lovely show coming on. I must
Yes.
say, happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day to my mother as well. She'll be watching us from Wigan/Cheshire.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes.
Yes, she's very up now.
Very up nice
She,
indeed.
yes.
Yes.
And it's no good saying anything to my mother. She won't watch.
Fair enough. What she's missing.
She
To be
doesn't.
honest, what she is missing. What is she missing tonight?
Tonight we have got comedian Tamsin Kelly, who's
Mhm.
coming to Manchester with her show.
Yeah, we've got a wonderful guy called Bruce Sudano. Everybody. Now, it's a name that went over my head until I realised his connection with so many people, such as Michael Jackson, such as Donna Summer.
Yes,
All
Dolly
these people.
Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
The list
in fact,
goes
he was
on.
married to Donna Summer, wasn't
He was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he?
Very
So,
good.
and he's thinking about the musical for us, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who else have
Yeah.
we got on tonight?
We have got Simon Buckley, who's going to be telling us about a fantastic festival taking place in Swinton.
Right, lovely.
Mm.
Well, in which case then, we should make our way to our chairs, shouldn't we, everybody? Let's make our way to our chairs. Here we are, speakerphone now, speakerphone.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
There we are.
And all we need to say now is, let's crack on with the show.
Yes.
Our next guest is quite simply a music icon. Bruce Sudano is an American musician and songwriter, creating songs for artists such as Michael Jackson, Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, and of course his late wife, the Grammy Award-winning Donna Summer.
Dano co-founded the pop rock band Alive and Kicking and became its keyboard player, a group that gained notoriety in 1968.
Indeed, he has had and continues to have a career that today's so-called music icons could only dream of. And he joins us now. Please welcome Bruce Sudano. How are you, Bruce?
I'm well. Joining you today from Milano. Just arrived yesterday from Los Angeles, and
So tell us a little bit about this new album then, Bruce.
okay. So the new album is called "Talking Ugly Truth, Telling Pretty Lies." I have it right here, coincidentally, and
That's it.
it's I basically, have been throughout my life. My dreams and desires have always been to be a songwriter. My way to write songs has always been by forming bands and then writing songs for my band.
Fantastic. Well, Talking Ugly Truths, Telling Pretty Lies is out now, and we have been blessed to have you on the show. Thank you very much indeed, Bruce.
My pleasure. I wish you both well, and I'll see you the next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Just talk.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, wasn't that wonderful?
Absolutely
what
fantastic.
a career.
I know, amazing, wasn't it? It's a huge list of
people that he's worked with in creating music.
Yeah.
Creating music for people. I think that's always special.
Well, any kind of creation, but that lives on, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if he had any troubles with any of the artists. That's what I was kind of working towards.
Well, I'd have sympathy there.
Would you?
Yes,
working with the artists.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me an artist.
I didn't mean it in a nice
Bit
way.
of a backhanded compliment there, but muchly appreciated. Right then.
Yes.
You've been out and about again because there's no stopping you.
Oh, I know.
You're like an audience survey, Matthew, you know.
I am. And this week I have been to Audenshaw.
Audenshaw. It's walk time.
Hello. And for our walk this week, we are in Audenshaw, just outside the city of Manchester. And behind me, the beautiful Rycroft Hall. Now, Rycroft Hall was built for a local landowner. It became home of the local MP. In the First World War, it was a First World War Red Cross hospital. These days, it's a community centre. We have ballroom dancing lessons, lots of talks. I appear here now and again. And probably the most famous thing it's known for is Coronation Street, where it plays the registry office. All kinds of people, from Rita and Dennis through to Steve and Becky. All kinds of people on Coronation Street have got married here. It's set in a lovely park. The house and grounds were given to the local authority so that they would be used by the public. And it is right opposite the Audenshaw tram stop. So if you want to come and visit, grab the tram and come and have a look. Round the back of Rycroft Hall is the old stable block and servants' quarters. So Audenshaw itself, well, it's a small place, few shops, as I say, tram stop, and this building. Who have you heard of from Audenshaw? Maybe Brooke Vincent, previously in Coronation Street, and Mick Hucknall as well, also went to school here. Audenshaw itself, the name means woodland. So it's a lovely little place, beautiful building, why not give it a go? And I'll see you on another walk before long. My Beautiful Laundrette is a Theatre Nation Partnerships production produced by the fabulous Curve in Leicester, and it's coming to the Lowry from the 19th to the 23rd of March.
Based on Hanif Kuresh's iconic and Oscar-nominated screenplay, and last brought to the stage in 2019, directed by Nikolai Foster, My Beautiful Laundrette is set in London during the Thatcher years and tells the story of a young British Pakistani, Omar, who transforms his uncle's rundown laundrette into a thriving business.
After being confronted by a fascist gang, Omar recognises his school friend Johnny and uses their history to defuse the situation. As they renovate the laundrette together, love blossoms between them.
Luka Chadwick Patel began his training at the Guildford School of Acting and has since performed in Millennials, Legally Blonde, Broken Wings, The Magician's Elephant and Dogfight.
What has made this story able to translate from a 1985 film to a fantastic show for theatre audiences of today? Let's ask Luka. Hello.
Hi, you're right.
How are you? Now, I remember watching this film many years ago.
Yeah.
It's an eye-opener of a film. For those people that perhaps haven't seen the film, what was it about the film that you think is translated so well to the stage now?
Well, the film was, as you know, when you first saw it, it was such an iconic thing. I mean, it was one of the first films that had an interracial gay relationship that is never really actually spoken about in the best way. It's just these two people that have this connection and they never go through any strife. There's never any sort of abuse that comes with it. They're just in love, and that's the beauty of it. It's just this eternal story of love and hope that they have, and I think that connected with so many people at the time. Yeah.
Fantastic. So this production, is it large scale? Is it big sets, or is it how are they doing it?
So it's a much more, compared to the 2019 production, we've lost quite a bit of the set because we've really tried to focus in on the text and the story and the connections of the characters. We've done a lot of work on really just trying to get the text heard and really focus on these relationships that these people have, because they're such wonderful, unapologetic and truthful people that you don't always agree with, but you end up feeling for them because, again, they're real people. They're the people you've met in your life. So, yeah, that's kind of been our focus. So it's kind of, the set kind of stays the same. We bring on small set bits and things like that, but a lot of the work is based around the text. Yeah. It's an absolute joy as an actor to get a piece like this. So many of the themes and so many of the characters, at least I found when reading, I relate so much to Omar. And I think there's so many people that relate to different people in the play. I mean, as I said, they're real people. They're people you've met. So it's something that stands up so well to our time today with the whole economic background of what our country is right now. It's such an important piece. And I think if people came and watched this, they'd feel hope, they'd feel strength. And I think it really brings people together. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that theatre can do. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For now, though, Luca, thanks so much for joining us today. Like I say, we really wanted to get behind this, and we really want.
Yeah, we'll be coming along.
We'll be there. We will be there. In fact, we've got our tickets. We're lined up. We're going. Yes. Thank you, Luca, for your time. Thank you.
Food for thought.
Food for thought, indeed. Well, there's so much going on around Manchester.
Yes.
Our Izzy's been busy this week.
Has she? Where's she been busy?
Home.
Oh, her home?
No, as in the venue, home.
Oh.
Home, yes.
Okay.
And she sent us this lovely VT about a lovely installation and art exhibition that's happening there. Check out this.
Home is an independent theatre, cinema and art gallery in the heart of Manchester. And they've been working with one organisation to provide a platform for families who have parents in prison and create a safe space where they can explore their emotions through the power of art. According to the Prison Advice and Care Trust, an estimated 100,000 children in the UK have a parent in prison. Renewable Imagination, a recycled art showcase, is an exhibition that launched at Home's Inspire Gallery in January this year and is running until the end of April. The exhibition features the artwork of prison learners and their families who took part in the Renewable Imagination project delivered by Novus, who provide learning and skills in over 50 prisons across England and Wales. But how does having a loved one in prison impact families?
So in terms of that separation, obviously that's a difficult time for people in them circumstances. So what we do in education is try and build opportunities that can support that family ties in terms of activities they might do at home, whether it's crafts, through the arts, through kind of wider creative opportunities, we've done performances, reading initiatives, and just provide moments where people can come together and just have them shared moments.
The Renewable Imagination project launched across Northwest prisons in October last year. The art is inspired by mixed media collage artists. Those who took part wrote a verse dedicated to their families by combining lyrics from recycled CD booklets with their own words.
So this specific project supports our learners and their families in terms of accessing the arts as a way of supporting family ties. And it's a project that's happened across 5 of our prison establishments in the Northwest. And with regards to learners working on the project and then their families coming on family days and supporting with their connections and family kind of support and just making normal environments for people to be able to do nice things together. So in terms of having the work here, for example, at home, it allows us to celebrate. So it's something nice that people can talk about beyond the opportunity, but also it's a shared moment. It's a real kind of celebration point as well for families.
Education is really important in terms of effective rehabilitation, resettlement of prisoners on release. We've seen an impact where those who participate in education are likely to be 20% higher effective rehabilitation than those who don't undertake education whilst in prison. It's really important for everybody because it costs the UK taxpayer about £18 billion a year in costs of offending, and therefore the more people we support to effectively rehabilitate, go back to their families, their communities, and support through education into jobs on release is really important in terms of turning individual lives around and supporting effective communities and community cohesion going forward. Creative arts is really important to us in terms of engaging with offenders who've been excluded from a lot of education activity, been excluded from school, and may have learning difficulties. And art's a great engagement tool, and those first steps in terms of preparing for progression into vocational education training, skills for employment, but also in terms of first steps for self and development, recognition around skills that individuals have, and how we can prepare and support individuals for a safe and resettled future.
The project has been brought to Inspire Gallery to showcase and celebrate the importance of creativity within families, and to also create more conversation around rehabilitation and the criminal justice system.
The Inspire Gallery is our community gallery here at home. It sets out to work with different communities all over Manchester and the North West to inspire others and encourage community and tell important stories about the people that make our city. And this project was an important project to us because what they were focusing on specifically was that relationship with families that need to create together, and providing that opportunity for families to be creative and explore their feelings together and spend time together. The exhibition really does that, and it's a really important message for home about making work together within a family, because it really does demonstrate the power of art within communities, about how art brings us together under any circumstances, and I think a lot of audiences can really connect with that. They can really relate to creativity in their own lives and how it's allowed them to connect with each other, and it's just a deeply human thing to do. And I think this exhibition really touches the audiences that have been in to see it. They can really relate to the role of creativity in their own families, and how creating art together is such a joyful and important part of our lives that often we forget we have time for.
We've been working quite closely around how we can take the arts out to other communities, and in terms of this specific project we had something running, and we decided that we'd approach our contact just to ask if we could share the opportunity with the wider public as a means of celebrating. But we have done a number of different things with Home, and again it's about allowing broader people to access that creativity.
Well, joining us now is a fantastic comedian, everybody, and we have literally just been reading over her notes. And well, it's a plethora of things that we probably should not be mentioning on this program, but we're going to mention them. So welcome to the show, Tamsin Kelly. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
This is going to be a lot of fun. First of all, let's delve into your daddy issues.
Oh, wow. Straight away. Okay.
So what are your daddy issues that we're going to be looking forward to seeing within this show?
I would say the issue's more his than mine, to be honest. I'm doing good. Well, they're just obviously that's kind of what my show's about in a way. It's about lots of things. That's just one of the things it's about. But my dad was just really not very nice when I was growing up, and we haven't spoken to each other for a really long time. And then I was falling asleep one night, and I'd put on a documentary, and as I was falling asleep I realized I could hear my dad's voice on the documentary. And I woke up and, he was on it. So that's what my show's about, and how that documentary is kind of like seeing that footage has changed my opinion of him. And it's made me sort of look back in a different lens.
Right.
There you go.
So this is very much a personal show then.
It's so personal. I just think if I'm not getting therapy out of my shows, it's kind of a waste of time, you know?
So is that what this is for you then? When you put a show together and you're delving into these personal issues, is it very much a case of, using your life experiences and hoping that you can kind of make people aware of your life experiences whilst trying to generate a giggle from people?
Yeah, I really like the kind of like documentarian style of things. It's not just all about me, I bring it into sort of wider issues, but I guess that's kind of how everyone relates to the world, isn't it? You use your own personal experiences to connect with kind of like wider issues and things. So that's really what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to be as sort of vulnerable as possible. I mean, it's kind of masochistic in a way, I suppose, but I don't mind putting all of my stuff out there. And I guess some comedians will be like, oh, if it helps other people, that's great. I'm not really thinking about helping other people, but I do like to see comedy that's also interesting, that also kind of makes me think, and that the performers, you know, putting a lot out there. I kind of always appreciate that.
I mean, just really to go and stand on that stage on your own is some kind of punishment anyway, isn't it?
I guess so. I'm a very brave girl, so yeah. I suppose so. I mean, I really, it can be a punishment. It can, like, you know, the further you get on in your career, the less chance there is of having a really tough one and it being punishing. I'd say the more punishing thing is like dragging yourself through you're constantly retelling these stories that are they're difficult to retell sometimes. That's probably that can be more punishing.
What would you describe your style of comedy as? And is it likened to anybody that perhaps is very, very prominent at the moment?
I haven't thought of it in comparison to like anybody else. I mean, mine is really like, I really do put it all out there. And I guess maybe like, I think I've lived quite like a dicey life in some respects. Like I've got a lot of experiences, and other comedians have sort of said to me about, oh, you turn over material fast, like you move through things. You don't want to run out of things to talk about. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to be a problem, really. So I don't know if I can liken it into anyone else, but I'd say it's kind of like, I'd say it's like hyper realism, but it is crafted. So I suppose everything I'm talking about is true, but I think the audience are going to be wondering, like, did it really happen like that?
Okay.
I find kind of fun. I think it can't be just my life, because that's not funny. If you see what I mean, like you've got to you've got to, you know, do the craft, basically, make jokes.
Indeed. Now this is coming to Manchester. Where can we find it, and when?
So it's at the Grub in Manchester. It's run by a gig called A Lovely Time. I think they're putting together that show, and it's on the 15th of March. Yeah, so that's one of my last tour dates. So it's yeah, it'd be nice for people to come. It's a great show, and it's been selling well, and like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a nice surprise at the end of it as well, but I don't want to give too much away. But, yeah.
I hope that's not tasting what's mentioned on your release.
No. The release is written very carefully.
It's going to be good.
It certainly is. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, great.
Definitely.
Lovely.
For now, though, Tamsin, thank you so much for your time. Been brilliant speaking to you, and we'll be checking this one out.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, Tamsin. The Not Quite Light Festival will be returning to Swinton on Friday, March the 15th, for the first time since it was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Taking place until Sunday, March 17th, this year's theme is Revival, and will include a range of events from talks and creative activities, guided walks exploring the nature and history of Swinton.
The festival kicks off with a launch party and then the premiere of the film Gathering Points, made by Simon Buckley, the festival's creative director at the lovely Grand Ballet. Ooh. Based in Swinton, the film explores the places people gather across the town to share stories and to spend time together. And Simon Buckley joins us now to tell us more.
Welcome, Simon. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yes. Tell us all about this film then, and indeed the festival that's coming.
So the film, which is going to be the first event of the festival, in a way, which was the catalyst for deciding to revive the whole thing again. I've visited 5 venues, and it's really about celebrating the kind of the hidden beauty of the people that live in any particular place. So it's a bit like if you were driving down the street and you had your window open and you came across conversations, and it sort of caused you to feel differently about the place you were passing through. So it's about that, really. It's about community and about the good things that people do and about people's lives, and showing that Swinton is the best of all of us. It's a representative of many towns in England. It's got great people doing great things there, but it's not always apparent when you're simply passing through on the A580.
So this kicks off a whole range of events, doesn't it, Simon?
It does, yeah. It's a smaller version of the festival this year. I've called it Not Quite Light. because normally there's about 30 events, and this year I think there's either 12 or 14. So it's much quieter, all in roughly one place around the Swinton Square precinct. But there's a nice variety of things, as they say, for all the family and for all ages. So there's things for kids to do, and there's things for grown-ups to do, and there's walks, and there's sort of gentle talks, and there's a couple of art performances, and there's a little exhibition by the artist Len Grant, which will be great. So it's a nice, gentle festival, but hopefully it'll celebrate, again, creativity, and give the people of Swinton something to come and look at and to think about and to enjoy.
Why is Swinton becoming so well renowned for its art and its creativity, and indeed for a place itself?
I didn't have a lot of connection with Swinton. I mean, I've passed through it many times in my life, and knew a few people there and things. But I think it's probably because, it's probably been a little bit more affordable in terms of being able to live in Manchester or Salford. Salford's obviously a great city, so I suspect it may well have attracted artists and creative people, because they tend to look for the lower priced properties, and it's pretty well connected, I guess, all the usual stuff, and I think it's like a lot of places that doesn't seem to have a particular centre to it. People sort of find their own clusters, don't they? And they find their own little ways of setting up networks and communities, and from that, those little catalysts, amazing things start to happen. So I think it seems to have started to take off in terms of people wanting to live there. The house prices have gone up and things, And there was a mill there, I think, that had spaces for people to work in as well, which is often a little thing to do. It's been really good to get to know the town better, actually. I mean, I think the last time I knew it properly was when I had a girlfriend there when I was at art college, called Leslie, whose parents were very suspicious of me. But she did introduce me to Marvin Gaye, so
okay. Were they right to be suspicious of you?
Well, I like to think not, to be honest. I thought it was a decent and honourable man.
For those that are interested in getting into creativity, what would you recommend the best route for them would be?
That's a really difficult question. If you are, it depends on what you want to get into. But I think the first thing is to try and understand yourself a bit, to know why it is that you want to be, where is that compulsion coming from? I think it was interesting during COVID, wasn't it? How many people turned to being creative as a way of dealing with lockdown. So it's obviously something quite deep and primal within us. So I think if you can understand what that compulsion is, that can help. Is it driven by curiosity? Sometimes it's driven by the need to make sense of the world around you. There's many different reasons, and if you can kind of understand a little bit, that helps with how you begin that process. And then the other thing is to kind of, what is it you want to do? Do you want to draw? Do you want to write? Do you want to make music? Do you want to sing? There's many different ways, and with digital, you can do things very simply. You can get yourself an iPad now and you can draw great artworks, write a novel, or make a film, or, create a great piece of music. On an iPad now, you can pretty much do all the art forms that are out there and be great at them. But I think the other thing is to just try and enjoy it. I think for those of us that have been sort of self-employed and doing it as partly our work, it's sometimes a little challenging to remain content with what you do, and I think sometimes people who have it as a hobby are probably luckier than those that have to earn an income out of it. So that would be my other suggestion, is don't try and earn money from it.
Fantastic. Well, Swinton for me is Lowry, and
Yes.
Tony Warren lived there, who created Coronation Street. So it's got a bit of a rich history. The festival sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we've got an event on with Tony Warren actually on the Sunday afternoon. Yeah, quite probably. I think it'll be one of the best events. It's on the Sunday afternoon, and it's looking at the legacy of Tony Warren. Obviously, he was born and bred there. In fact, one of my first ever celebrity portraits was Tony Warren. It was a slightly frightening experience, but also a very enriching experience. But we've got Noreen Kershaw, who's written, who's directed and acted on Coronation Street, a scriptwriter called Debbie Oates, and we've got Fizz, Jenny McAlpine. So they're all going to be talking about Tony Warren, the creation of Coronation Street, and its legacy. So that should be a really interesting talk, and that's on the Sunday afternoon. Everything's free. Everything's free, by the way. Nothing costs a penny.
Well, you can't say fairer than that, can you?
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Simon, for tempting us to come along.
It's not the first time I've tempted people.
Swinton, the place to be.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
Ooh,
Who'd have
yes.
thunk it? We're out of time.
Not again.
We've got to go, everybody. We've
Oh.
got to go. We've got I love the show coming up next week, though.
Very, very special show, haven't we?
We have indeed. Why?
Well, it's our 6th first.
Which
Come on
means
then,
360 episodes, everybody.
Yes, and
Yes.
you've been here for it must be over 300 episodes.
I must have
surely.
done 300 episodes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
And
about time you got yourself a job. Isn't it?
do you know what that'll mean? That'll bring roughly around about 1,100 guests.
Yes, and about 1,100 co-hosts.
But listen, make sure you tell everybody about your Manchester. It is officially now.
Officially.
It's been sanctioned by
Yes.
Burnham, actually. Manchester's #1 talk show.
Yep.
And we're proud to be here every week, aren't we?
We certainly are.
We are. And
Yes,
if
we
you've
are.
not watched it now, or somebody's not watched it and wants to watch it again, they can watch it again because it's going straight onto the YouTube
Yes.
now, and it's going on to the other things. But for now, though,
Yes.
we are going to sign off and say
Yes.
thanks very much. Have a lovely Mother's Day to
Yes,
all the mothers.
absolutely.
Indeed. And till we meet again, thanks for watching this week's episode of
Your Manchester.